right, after a very long hiatus, I'm too close to the computer. Welcome to Ethan Skolnick Starting 9. I'm going to be here a couple times a week. Manny Chang is producing. At some point, I'll find the camera here. We'll do more Heat stuff as we get closer to Heat season. Make sure you check out the latest episode of 5 on the Floor. We've actually got a couple new episodes that are going up. One already did about whether or not the Heat can play super small with Eric Spoelstra this year. That is already up on the podcast feeds. It'll be up on YouTube channel here a little bit later today. Also, we did an episode debating whether or not, good morning, Holland, debating whether or not Jimmy Butler has passed Alonzo Mourning in Heat history. We had a spirited debate on that last night. Sean Rochester, myself, and Greg Sylvander. I didn't really debate. I just set them up to piss off Zoe. So if you want to check out that episode, that should be up in the next 24 hours. I'm going to mention a sponsor, and then I got something more important to get to. We are going to talk Dolphins today, or at least I'm going to talk about it. Don't have a guest, so you are the guest. So we're going to take your comments that come in here, and I will answer as many as I can. We're going to be here for about the next 20 minutes. Do want to mention one of the sponsors of today's episode. It's Prize Picks. Use the code 5, F-I-V-E. Get your initial deposit matched up to $100. See how simple it is. You're just playing up downs. That's all. You just go over, you go under, play 2, 3, 4, 5 players together. You don't have to play football if you're not a football person, although if you're watching this, you probably are. You can play any of the other sports. You can combine different sports. But, of course, right now until the NBA starts, we're pushing the NFL stuff, so you can check it out. You can go over, under. Again, no more preseason games, but the regular season props are already up there, as well as the season props. So if you like Tua, 3,950 yards is the number, whether you're going to want to go over, under. So that means he would play 17 games and average about 225 yards per game. If you like it, play it now before it goes over, okay? Or, again, you can get in on the New England-Miami game. You can also get in on the Canes, who are starting up next week. You can play college football there as well. Use the code 5, F-I-V-E. Get your initial deposit matched up to $100. Make sure you use the code. It helps you and it helps us. And it helps us produce more content. Before I start, we are going to talk Tua and the Dolphins today. Almost everything has been said already. I put it on my Twitter account. But again, just want to send condolences to the family of Jason Jenkins and everybody else who cared about him, which was pretty much anybody in South Florida sports. I don't think I've seen an outpouring for somebody like this in a long time. Of course, Jason passed at 47 years old on Saturday on a game day. Jason was the media relations coordinator for the Dolphins for years. He moved more into a community relations space because it's what he wanted to do. He wanted to help the community. He also worked directly with the owner. I can tell you just from personal, and I don't want to get into a lot about our friendship, but I can just tell you that Jason was instrumental in getting us access with the Dolphins at 5 Reasons Sports. He believed in what we were doing. I can tell you most team officials down here did not. I sat in Jason's office several times, went over what we were trying to accomplish. If you remember, the podcast Fish Tank was actually with 5 Reasons Sports initially. Ultimately, it went over to the Dolphins, because, again, Jason did believe in what we were doing and bringing content to people in a different way. And he was a forward thinker, a family man, a huge Houston Rockets fan. That's what we would talk about most of the time. But just a really good person. And, again, everybody has said something over the weekend. I recommend that you read Dave Hyde's column. I wish they would take it out from behind the paywall so everybody could see it. But it captures who Jason was. And I don't know, it was just honestly 48 hours later, and I'm still in shock. I think most of us in the media are. So just wanted to say that before we get to less serious things. The less serious things we're going to talk about today are from a football perspective. This camp went as well as it could for the Miami Dolphins. I don't know how anybody who's not trying to be negative could argue otherwise. Okay, yes, you had the draft picks taken away for Ross's foolishness. But as far as the on-field product, as far as the way that the coach sort of put his stamp on this program, changed the atmosphere there. When I went out to camp this year, it was totally different than previous years. It just, I don't know, it's like a huge cloud is lifted. And that's no offense to any of the previous coaches, but it's just this guy is trying to do things a different way. And you can see the results. You can see the way that the players that they picked late in the draft, whether it's a receiver in the 4th round or a quarterback in the 7th round, not only are they identifying players they can work with, but they're building those players up instead of breaking them down and tearing them down, as has happened in previous years. The fact that we're having a debate over whether or not the 7th-round quarterback can be the number 2 quarterback on this team this year when people know that Tua has injury issues in the past tells you something about how well they identified talent and how well they're developing that talent. So to me, this was a terrific camp. I mean, they dominated both teams that they faced in the when they were working in practices, both the Bucs and Philadelphia. Then they finished by dominating Philadelphia in the last game. I know a lot of the Eagles didn't play, but neither did a lot of the Dolphins. Waddle didn't play. There were a lot of guys that didn't play. We haven't even talked much about the defense because everybody's been focused on the offense. Christian Wilkins had a terrific camp. No Byron Jones, but I thought Xavier Howard had an excellent camp. You look at some of the linebacker play, Jalen Phillips' development. You can see the growth between year 1 and year 2. Bringing back Agba. Bringing in 2 more reinforcements for the front 7, which they just brought in the second one in Flowers, but they had already brought in Melvin Ingram. I mean, they are loaded in the front 7 this year. We don't even talk about the defense because everybody's Tua. And yes, I'm Tua also, okay? And I don't know how you could look at his camp and not be excited about it. I don't understand it. Like this idea that we're going to argue over a 51-yard pass. I mean, there were some stats that were put up. Do you know, okay, that in terms of Tyreek Hill and Mahomes, that he had only 2 catches of greater than that in the past 2 years? One of them was a 10-yard slant. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about when we're arguing about a 51-yard pass? Tua said he could have laid it out there more for him. How many 51-yard throws have been completed here in the past few years? I'm watching some of the other stuff that happened. Yes, Holland, they did, for sure. Phillips does look awesome. They look like they hit on some picks here the past couple of years. But you look at what Tua did this camp, okay? To finish it up 6 for 7, 1 throw was not great, okay? But we're sitting here, we're going to argue about this stuff when Mac Jones is throwing into quadruple coverage. And that's a Pro Bowler. That's the guy that ESPN is hyping. Do I know that Tua is going to be exceptional this year? No, nobody does, okay? Can things happen? Can he get hurt in the first game? Absolutely. The offensive line looks better in some spots. We know that. That's even without the left tackle playing in the last game. But I know this. There's been genuine progress made between year 2 and year 3. I mean, he's rotating his hips completely. He's getting to the out throws he couldn't get to, especially early on in his recovery. And I keep coming back to this. He probably shouldn't have played his rookie year. So people assessing that season, I don't understand it. Okay? We all thought that was going to be a redshirt year. To me, last year was his rookie season. All right? This is the season where he takes the jump. And I don't see anything from him that I don't like so far. Look, his arm is only going to get so strong, okay? He's not going to be Herbert. He's not going to be Josh Allen, okay? He's not going to be Mahomes in that regard. You play to your strengths. And to me, a couple things that are so positive about this camp, okay? One is that he bonded with the coach immediately. The coach believes in him. It's obvious. He's not faking it. Mike McDaniel is not the type to fake anything with anybody. Yes, Mac Jones is going to be running for his life and throwing once the whole game. Okay, the coach believes in him. You can see that in the way that Tua is performing. He's making throws he wouldn't make before because he had to look to the sideline after he was making it. Then he had to look to 6 different offensive coordinators. The play gets called in now. He gets it. He knows what it is. He knows how to adjust off of it. He can make the throws they're asking for. But also, they literally picked a coach who is perfect in terms of the type of system that Tua would fit. This is quick throws, play off the run, get the ball out. If they can establish an actual running game, it'll look even better because I want to see Tua off more play action. But they have some backs to do that. And some of the complaints here in camp about some of the things that have happened, well, they don't have a stud back. No, they don't, okay? But I think they have a quality enough group. Again, we're debating whether or not they're number 1 and number 2 backs, which were Gaskin and Ahmed, right? Pretty much for the past couple of years. Whether or not those guys are going to make the team. That tells you you've upgraded. Cornerback position would be fine right now if Byron Jones was healthy. We'll see if he goes on PUP or what happens if he ends up missing the first 4 games or he plays. It's a bit of a hole there. We know about the questions in the offensive line. But the front 7 has been fortified. The receiver position, we haven't seen Hill with Waddle yet with Tua in a game, right? We saw it in some scrimmages against other teams. They couldn't cover anybody. So I'm reassessing my judgment on this team. I think this is an 11-6 team. I think it's an 11-6 team that gets in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to win the division because I think Buffalo is that good. But I think this is an 11-6 team. And I think that Tua is going to be a huge part of that. And I would keep 3 quarterbacks. I would keep Teddy Bridgewater because we just don't know with Skylar Thompson yet until – look, Teddy Bridgewater has won games in this league. I know he doesn't excite anybody. I know that there's a maxed upside with him. I know he did not have a particularly good camp. But part of it is he didn't look good compared to Tua. Why is that a bad thing? I thought we were going to come into camp with arguments about whether Teddy should be starting, right? Isn't that what the Tua haters were all preparing for? Can't beat out Teddy Bridgewater. He beat out Teddy Bridgewater pretty easily, right? To the point that we're having a debate about whether Bridgewater or Thompson should be the second quarterback. I think that's progress. All of this is progress. So to me, Dolphin fans who are, looking for something right now, honestly, just need happy pills. I don't see problems with Cam. And you're right, Cap. The defense is not being talked about. And I think you look at that defense, where are the holes? One corner spot, maybe? I mean, I'm comfortable with Nick Needham when he's healthy. So you're talking about one corner spot, okay? You got Van Ginkel will be back by game 2. You've got Agba back. Wilkins is developing into a real force inside, okay? Raekwon Davis gives you the kind of size that you need, the physicality. Sealer, to me, is the most underrated player on the team. You still got Jerome Baker. And again, you brought in 2 vets. I thought one of the problems last year was they didn't have enough vets on the roster. Now they've brought in vets at key spots. I like what they've done. And I've been a critic of Chris Greer over time. But now you can kind of see, look, not every move is going to hit, okay? We know Noah. We'll see what happens with Austin Jackson if he can hold up at that spot. But you're judged as a general manager and to a degree as a coach on the overall body of work. I mean, you could take one player here and one player there. I go back to, 1996, okay, because I'm old. Jimmy Johnson, 96, 97, 98. Yes, everybody remembers that he found Zach Thomas in the 5th round, found Jason Taylor in the 3rd round, got Patrick Surtain and Sam Madison in the 2nd round. But everybody kind of forgets that Darryl Gardner in the 1st round didn't turn out so well. Yateel Green in the 1st round blew out his knee right in front of me, and the first game was never the same. The first training camp practice. He missed on guys. You remember names? You probably don't. Most of you were not alive. Dorian Brew, others. There were a bunch of guys he missed on for those 3 years. But people remember the body of work in the draft, that he found 4 core Pro Bowl type starters, one of which is in the Hall of Fame and a second who should be, and the other 2 are now on the coaching staff. So overall, if you look at Jalen Phillips, if you look at what Tua is developing into, if you look at Waddle, all right, now you look this year, I'm not going to pronounce Eazy-E's name, but you got him. You've got Skylar Thompson. You had no picks this year. You've got a receiver who looks like the 3rd receiver on your team ahead of a guy that you signed in free agency who actually looked pretty good in camp. So to me, this has been a successful camp. And the discourse on Tua is it's not even toxic at this point. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. I mean, now you have the likes of Colin Cowherd who are switching totally again, and they love Tua. They'll go back the other direction at a certain point. All right. What I don't understand about the Tua debate is why people care so much outside of Miami. I don't understand it. There's 32 teams in the NFL. Nobody talks about the Dolphins, ever. Dolphins are not a team that national media ever talks about. Why is he such a lightning rod? I don't get it. Like, I don't want to go to race here. I don't want to go to some of those places, but I just don't understand it. He does nothing to bring this on himself. He had no attitude until this camp when he started going back at some of this stuff. So why was it there in the first place? Why has anybody picked a side against Tua? What has this guy done? I don't get it. It's not LeBron, like the chosen one tattoo when he's 17. This guy is as humble as you can get. They've had to bring it out of him. This would be like going after Bam out of bio. Like, what has Bam ever done to anybody? I understand Heat fans' frustration with Bam at times. I get it. But, like, he's not a national media topic like Tua is. Jimmy Butler. Yes, people can have strong opinions about Jimmy Butler nationally, right? The way Jimmy is rubs you right or rubs you wrong. That's how it is. But Tua, I don't get it. Makes no sense to me. I thought he had an exceptional camp. I thought that Mike McDaniel had an exceptional camp. Now we see. I'm saying 11-6, okay? Some of the games on the schedule, once you get towards the middle, towards the end, look a little dicey to me. They do have some depth issues on the offensive line and in the secondary that we'll have to see. But they have legitimate studs on the rise. They've got Javon Holland. They've got Jalen Phillips. It may be the anti-Miami sentiment. But again, most of the time, Holland, people don't even care about Miami. And here's the thing about it. It's not even like Dolphin fans hype Tua that much. There's an entire contingent of Dolphin fans that is hoping he fails. I'm not saying expecting him to fail, hoping he fails, okay? I interact with these people all the time on Twitter. They want to be right more than they want the Dolphins to succeed. There's a similar sentiment with Tyler Hero on the Heat side. There's some who just don't like Tyler. They don't think he looks the part. They want him to fail because they want to be right. That's my point, Cap. 3 back-to-back road games close to December. I think there are going to be pockets of the schedule where McDaniel's going to be challenged. He was not challenged very much in camp. They did not have serious injuries. I mean, think about it. I mean, knock on something, but I mean, the injuries they had, Van Ginkel's, you couldn't expect that. That's a health issue. And then you look at Byron Jones. He was injured coming into camp, essentially. So that one doesn't even count. I mean, that's the recovery. They got pretty lucky. They didn't have serious injuries, right? No key spots, nothing. The only real adversity he had was dealing with his owner's idiocy on the, going after Brady and Sean Payton and losing the picks, and he handled that fine. And then Preston Williams basically complaining, right? So we will see how he handles adversity when we go forward. But for right now, I don't know. I mean, I want the guy to succeed because I want this to be the approach the coaches take in the future. Open, entertaining, explain the game actually instead of these gruff answers. He's like, he really is. Like, he's like a ray of sunshine down there. And that hasn't been the case in a long, long time. I can tell you, okay? It's a reason I switched to the Heat full time. Let's take some more comments before we do. I do want to mention one more sponsor here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. And, of course, you hear about him on 5 on the Floor. It's our friend Mark Brown. You can find him at markbrownpa.com. That's markbrownpa.com. Mark can do a bunch of things for you, okay? One thing he can do is he can help you with an estate plan. If you are young, look at that good-looking guy. He's also a huge Heat and Dolphin fan. He can help you with all this stuff here, foreclosures, probate. But the big thing I always push here is estate planning, because if you're anywhere close to my age or you have a family, you want to make sure that your money that you've earned goes to the right place. Okay. He will give you all the forms, he'll work on it with you. It's not expensive, the process, and you need it. You never know what's going to happen from day to day. We just unfortunately just found that out again. Okay. It's just make sure that your estate is in order for the people that you care about. Okay. So reach out to Mark. Again, it's markbrownpa.com. That's with a C. He's based in North Lauderdale, but he services obviously the entire area. Also, if you have real estate and you're trying to close a property, he's the guy to go to. He closed 2 properties for me. One of the times the title company on the other side was a complete disaster. You need somebody calm and patient, and he is. If you meet Mark, you'll know it. So reach out to markbrownpa.com. Again, free case evaluation. Make sure you mention 5 Reasons. He knows we sent you. Give you even better service. No, it's the same, but it's nice to mention this anyway. 954-566-5678. All right, we'll close here with a few comments. We are going to do more Heat stuff as we go forward. More of this stuff. But again, Holland, thanks for joining. So this is let's see what else we got. What about the charming Nick Saban? Holland says. I covered those Saban press training camp for sure. This question comes in. Yes, Holland is a stud for sure. Well, yes. Well, actually, we've got a Holland commenting, and then we're talking about Javon Holland. But this one comes in from our friend Holland Grossman. Do we think Mike McDaniel will be a conservative coach, or will he be going for every 4th down no matter where we are on the field? Not sure what his overall vibe is as pertains to aggressiveness. I anticipate he'll be aggressive. And the reason I anticipate he'll be aggressive is because the analytics tell you to be aggressive, and he's clearly a guy who believes in some analytics. The analytics will tell you, if you ever listen to Levitard on this stuff, like you should go for every 4th and 1, no matter where you are. Now, I don't know if he's going to be that crazy. I can tell you, though, that some Dolphins coaches who started off being more aggressive turned out more conservative. People don't remember, but Tony Sparano early on was very aggressive. Then he was playing, may he rest in peace, then he was playing for field goals. Saban was very aggressive when he came in and then didn't turn out to be aggressive. Even Jimmy, who had this gambler's reputation, was not. So we'll see. But I think that the analytics will tell him to be consistently aggressive. So I think he will be more often. This one comes in. All right, this comes Boss Man. Always appreciate that. What do you think? I feel play action is what's needed for Tua to succeed. I'm saying for 2 years they look good, but I didn't see what it counts. Yes, but you got to be able to run play action, right? I mean, they've been running the RPO stuff and running it into the ground, but I do think that if they will have enough of a running game, but I think you've got to think of the McDaniel running game a little bit differently. He's going to try to create creases for sure, but they're going to use the backs as weapons out of the backfield too. I would expect all of their backs to get a pretty heavy dose of catches out of the backfield, and they may set up play action in that way by sucking up the defense a little bit, but I don't know if it's going to be as much conventional play action. We'll see. They've got to get the running game going on 1st and 2nd down if they're going to do that. Cap, they say they keep 7 receivers, 3 running backs, 4 tight ends. It's funny. Some thinks they're going to keep 7 receivers also. I don't. I think they're going to keep 6. I think they may keep a 4th back. Remember, a lot of that at the end of the skill position stuff comes down to special teams. So I think that will play into it. I think they have 7 receivers. I think they have 8 receivers they could keep. But I think they'll keep 6. But don't hold me to that. All right, last one. Again, we appreciate our sponsors. Holland, either my question, will Tua be able to keep the Cheetah happy in terms of touchdowns or receptions? Lots of talk this far. Will it change if you can't get it on the ball, hands on the ball enough? I think they're going to get the ball to him in so many different ways. I heard some mixed things about him this weekend, about his Kansas City tenure and some of the stuff internally. So, yeah, I think it is something that you've got to monitor in the way that you would have to sort of monitor Jimmy Butler's happiness. But I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to be spreading the ball out so much. Now, I will say this. At Prize Picks, the number on both Waddle and Hill is 87.5 catches. I would go under on both. I just think they're going to be, again, throwing to the backs a lot, getting the other receivers involved, and, who knows what happens with Gesicki. So I would go under. I just think that Waddle's yards per catch are going to go way up. And this one comes in from Manny, our producer. Look at Devo tape from last year. Cheetah will be fine. And then this comes in for Jules. Tyreek will be more than happy. The Dolphins seem to go out of their way to get him the ball. Thanks to everybody. We appreciate it for joining. We'll do more of these, just 20 minutes in and out. Check out Louis Sung has a new Take 5. We're doing something new on the channel. Everybody in our network just doing quick takes. He has one about why he doesn't think Lynn Bowden's going to make the roster. I think he's probably right, but we'll see. Jules says he'd go over, or I don't know if Jules is a man or a woman in this case. It could go either way, but Jules says we'd go over. Anyway, thanks, everyone. Check out 5 on the Floor. Thanks for watching today. More Dolphins content coming up all week. And that's right. Share it with your friends. Thanks to Manny for producing. Have a good day, everybody.